Happy New Year, everybody! So this is the first in a new series that I'm calling Hour Sessions. Basically, 5 days a week, I'm going to take an hour in the day to just draw something or model something or work on something personal so that I can show you guys and show you the process and all that kind of stuff. This is an hour-long session compressed down to 10 minutes. The hour-long full commentary version is up on my Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting me there, you can check out the full video and you can hear all the twists and turns and full ideas behind what I'm doing. But basically, for these first couple sessions, what I'm going to be doing is taking a 2D sketch or concept and then turning it into 3D, and then eventually getting it printed and resin kits made out of it so that I can, sell it online and stuff like that. So anyway, that's the explanation. I'm starting with a monster cutie skull because I like working with the cuties. I like doing cute things that are slightly grotesque, and what better way to stick a cutie inside of a weird skull. So I'm drawing in blue, and I like to, and this is Sketchbook Pro. When I'm doing concept work that I don't really intend to finish, I usually use Sketchbook Pro because I like the tool sets. The color picker is really easy to use. They partnered with Copic, I think, and their color palette is real convenient. Choosing colors is pretty easy. And I like the pencil tools and the sketch tools and the marker tools. So right now I'm sketching everything in blue. It's a holdover from traditional comics when you could scan something or photocopy something and the blue pencil would not show up. So some comic artists would pencil things in blue and then use a regular pencil to do the tighter lines, or ink over the blue and then scan it or do a photocopy, and you would not see the blue pencil lines because of the way that cameras worked, I guess. You could do the same thing these days, but in Photoshop just cancel out the blue channel. Anyway, so I like to do concepts in Sketchbook Pro because it's quick and fast and easy. And for something like this, I'm not really concerned with getting too detailed, going too deep into the detail. I'm just looking for an overall composition, working on proportions and seeing where the different shapes and planes lie. So it looks like I'm done with the general sketch, and so now I'm going back over it with some more detailed lines. This is just to clarify things for me. Pretty sloppy since I know that I'm the end client and I'm the one who's going to be taking this 2D sketch into a 3D environment. I'm also not going to bother doing like orthographic turnarounds like a front or a side or a back or a top or bottom, because it's all going to be random interpretation. And for something like this, there are a lot of happy accidents that happen during the sculpting process. So I don't want to get too rigid with the design. You'll notice I don't even bother doing a back view of this skull. It's just going to be the 3/4 front view. So now I'm just outlining the shapes a little bit more to give myself a more accurate map of what I'm thinking. If that makes any sense. And I'm using a brown instead of a full-on black, just because I like to. No other reason than that. So I'm carving in some deeper shapes and following certain lines and ignoring other lines. But when I finish with this, I'm gonna make a JPEG and bring that into ZBrush, which is what I use to sculpt in 3D, and so I'll see the pencil lines too. I'm not getting rid of all of that stuff. At least I don't think I am. I don't remember what I did at the end of this. Also, this is the first time I've recorded a voiceover for a time lapse, so hopefully I'll get better as I get more practice with all this stuff. Normally, if I'm drawing anything, I'll spend some time looking at references for specific things like bones or wrinkles or different shapes, cracks, things like that. But for this first concept, my intention was just to get an idea down quickly and various impressions of things. So I'm not quite concerned that like these shapes might not completely meld into each other. It's more getting the impression of the thing out there. When I model it and I get it to the detail phase, I might pick up some references for things like horns or bones. I've got a squirrel skull somewhere around here, and I use it for reference every once in a while because I like to see how the plates of the bones kind of fuse together. And having a reference that I can actually hold in my hand and turn around is a lot better than just a photo. Oh, I guess I turned off the sketch layer, so never mind. When I go back and start sculpting it, I won't have the sketch lines, but that's okay. This line art is pretty loose from what I normally do when I'm doing tight line art. I don't do a whole lot of value or shading when I'm working on the concept at this point. Like, really, I could have stopped here and let it go, but I think because I had a lot more time left in the session, I started to put in some shading just to give myself an idea of the types of forms that I was trying to communicate with, because 2D line art doesn't always translate into 3D space. So if I can add values here to denote like this is supposed to be round, this is supposed to be a hard edge, that can help with modeling in 3D. Of course, you know, I'm the end client, so I could just make that shit up like I want to, but you know, if you're doing something for like a game where you need to communicate a little bit more than just, you know, outlines of shapes, it probably helps to give your modeler, whoever's going to be making it, some sort of information to let them know what types of shapes you were thinking, like whether the horn was curved or whether it was flat, that kind of thing. So that's why I'm going through and doing this kind of thing and fucking up a lot, apparently. But yeah, that's what you get in an hour, you know. I didn't practice any of this. This is all straight off the dome, making that shit up as I go along. So, and I toned the background because it's always fun to play with toned paper, but it also gives you a nice midground to work off of. So, you know, adding in shadow becomes a lot easier, and then to pull out highlights, you know, you can just use a lighter color and kind of paint that in, just what I'm doing here. So using a lighter color to add a little bit more definition to some of the shapes, to you know, this part I need to be more round, this part I need to be more harsh. So it also is easier on your eyes if you work on a toned image, because sometimes the blinding white can hurt your eyes if you stare at it too long. So whenever I can, if I'm doing a concept like this, I'll throw on like a grayish background, grayish brownish background, and then work from there. So I think I'm getting closer to the end. It's not going to get too much more detailed than this, but this gives me enough information to work off of for the 3D sculpt. I kind of have an idea what parts of the skull are going to be recessed. I kind of have a good idea of the roundness of certain shapes or the flatness of certain shapes. I kind of know where in space these things are placed. So this gives me a really good roadmap to work from when it comes time to go into ZBrush. So, and here is a look at the final sketch without all the interface elements in there. If I wanted to finish this off, I would probably take this into Photoshop and do some overpainting and clean up some lines and get into more fine detail. Like the mouth section with the teeth, that's pretty messy and pretty loose and not very helpful, which I will find out as I go and sculpt things later. But Anyway, so that's the first of these hour sessions. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you got something out of it. If you're interested in seeing the full hour with full commentary, check out my Patreon. It'll be linked in the show notes and you can check that out. If you pledge, you'll get the full hour commentary. You'll get to see me fuck up. At some point, Sketchbook crashes on me, so that's kind of funny. But you'll get to see it all and I talk through it all and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, check it out. And next time I will actually take this sketch and do some modeling in ZBrush. Do what I like to call a ZBrush sketch. So not very detailed at all, just kind of getting proportions and shapes in there. So, all right, thanks for watching, and I'll check you later. Bye.